A major component of the WPA was the Federal Music Project that was started during the Great Depression. Back then, there were literally starving artists. But here in the Catlett Fine Arts Library is a master's thesis dated 1940 that tells the story of how Oklahoma gained a symphony in the midst of the Great Depression.
It was a federally funded program to put people back to work in the Depression. There was a tremendous amount of unemployed, and so Franklin Roosevelt decided, instead of giving a government handout for people to have public works or public projects where the people would actually work for payment rather than just being on the government dole as like a welfare state. And it gave people a lot of pride.
This master's thesis tells us of how professional musicians would be the first to feel the impact of the Great Depression. An orchestra was created to employ musicians registered on relief rolls. The Oklahoma City Philharmonic was started by the Federal Music Project in 1938. Originally called the Oklahoma Federal Symphony, the orchestra was designed to develop and maintain higher standards and broader participation in music, not just earning a paycheck.
Well, what it did was it started a professional orchestra here. I mean, in the beginning it was catch as catch can. In 1938 they went and grabbed the musicians that they could get, and then gradually it grew and grew. Without that beginning, there wouldn't have been a professional orchestra here nearly as early as there was.
Musicians like Lois Fries started with the orchestra when her viola teacher asked her to audition to play when she was in high school.
Well, I started as a student member in my senior year in high school, which was in the fall of 1950. Playing in an orchestra has always been my first love, over teaching even. And I just consider it a great honor to have gotten to participate in this group all those years.
Trombonist Herb Wagner, a music professor at OU, has been with the Philharmonic since its revival in 1988 and finds his love in the orchestral music.
Of course, I love music. And I'm a trombone player, and orchestral music is a love, and to be able to play with other great musicians in a controlled environment with a good conductor and high quality music that goes clear back into the history of all of the music industry, and being surrounded by that whole atmosphere is absolutely a joy and a pleasure.
So Oklahoma City was known for its symphony orchestra, and this continued on and on, generation after generation of musicians. They would come and go, of course, as is typical with a symphony orchestra. But when the orchestra closed and the Philharmonic was started the following year, if not for this large contingent of musicians that were here, and not for that, this WPA start, there wouldn't be the large interest in symphonic music that there has been in Oklahoma City.
The Oklahoma City Philharmonic is only one of 7 orchestras that were started by the Federal Music Project that still perform today. Back then, the Oklahoma Federal Symphony was a full-time job. Now, orchestral musicians can play what they love without having to depend on it for support. A lot has changed since the time musicians were once literally starving artists.